Entry 1, 5/2/18. Back in therapy, Dr. Schultz told me that whenever I had strange thoughts, I should write them down. That's the reason I started this journal. I'm not sure what it is, but in these past weeks, I had the feelings that strange things were going on. I think people are watching me. I live in a massive apartment building. The flats are small but affordable. There is one problem: the missing solitude, peace, and especially privacy. Knowing that dozens or even hundreds of people live in the same building is a suffocating thought. It had been bothering me ever since I had moved in. The apartment building is part of an extensive residential area. There is nothing but rows and rows of similar buildings next to each other. They are only divided by small recreational areas between them. The closeness of the buildings makes living here a bit awkward. When I first moved in, I had no blinds or curtains. I felt a bit naked, to be honest. Anyone from the adjacent buildings was able to watch me. I knew that it was irrational. It wasn't like I was interesting or attractive. Once I got my blinds, they were almost perpetually closed, and they were a godsend. I got to admit though, at times it was tempting to go outside and risk a peek at other people. You could catch a couple during an argument or someone acting weird. At one time, he even saw some dude watching something he shouldn't have been, with the blinds wide open. Unfortunately, it goes both ways. If I was able to watch other people, they could watch me too. In the colder months, that was fine. Once it got warmer though, more and more people spent time on their balconies. It makes it awkward to do the same. I hate people watching me, and I always did. Like I had done last year, I kept the blinds closed. This year too, I felt watched, and I couldn't explain it, but it made my skin crawl. It was like the feeling that you get when someone's eyes focus on you. It was ridiculous. I had the blinds closed and no one could look inside. As always, it was just my imagination. My brain was acting up again and playing tricks on me. God knows it likes to do those things. Over time, I couldn't deny it anymore though. I wasn't sure if it was only on my mind. A couple of weeks ago, I was proven right. A man over in the other building looked straight at me. I pushed it off as a coincidence, a trick of the moment. Every time I looked over though, I saw the same guy. At first, I thought that I was paranoid, stupid even. Who knows, the guy might sit outside all day, enjoying the nice weather. Every time I went to the blinds though, there was this feeling of apprehension. What if he was there again? I told my brain to drop it, to ignore it, and that all is well. It didn't matter though. Whenever I looked, he was there. Today, it wasn't just him either. On a different balcony, I saw a woman staring at me as well. As I gazed over the building, I found other people too. They were all doing the same thing, watching me. And the weirdest part is that they didn't stop. They didn't just look once or twice and go back to their business. No, they continued to watch. I felt myself freaking out, so I started to write this down. It always helped me to clear my head and to keep calm. What I can say is that this is too weird. I'm sitting here sweaty all of a sudden. Maybe they all weren't looking at me. Entry 2, 5/6/18. I am sure that I do not imagine things. When I look, those people stop right in their tracks and start watching me. Every single time they are there. Heck, as I said, their eyes are glued on me. Entry 3, 5/8/18. I'm catching myself looking out more and more often. I'm telling myself that it's all in my head and the next time I look out there, that there is no one there anymore. The problem is, every time I am confronted with this weird reality, more and more people seem to join in every single day. First, it was only 2 or 3, but now it's dozens. There's no way this is a coincidence. Entry 4, 5/10/18. And today I dusted off the old binoculars. It was time to give those people a bit of a closer look. It felt a little wrong to use them like this. I had got them for something different, but oh well. How do they even see me? I'm hiding behind the blinds and only ever look for a moment. But still, they notice me in an instant. Entry 5, 5/11/18. Are they all talking to each other? Did they all get together and choose me as a target to mess with? Do they know that I don't like to be watched? Is that why they're doing it? Entry 6, 5/15/18. Alright, enough is enough. I'm done with this. For the past weeks, I spent my free time thinking about this and staring at people. Staring at people who just stare back at me. It is not only weird, but stupid. Really freaking stupid. If I stop to give them attention, I'm sure they'll stop looking. Entry 7, 5/19/18. 11:22 a.m. I ignored them for days. Yesterday, I even went out with Tom and a few other friends. We went to a party, had a few beers, and we hung out together. It was a pretty nice evening. First time in a long while that I had fun. This morning I ruined things. Hungover as I was, I prepared myself some coffee. And then, without thinking, I decided to air this musty place out a bit. As soon as the blinds were up, I felt their glances on my body. It gave me quite the scare to see all those people looking at me. I took a step back in shock, and after a few seconds, I closed the blinds again. A few minutes later, I peeked outside once more, trying not to move the blinds at all. They are still there, even now, an hour later. Entry 8, 5/19/18, 2:33 p.m. The more that I keep watching them, the more I think this is all set up. It could be a social experiment or a reality show. There is no way you can explain what is happening. The people who are watching must be following cues and instructions. Whoever is behind this might have had cameras installed to monitor my reaction. Are they recording me right now as I type this out? Or is it a dumb prank? Is someone trying to freak me out? Could it be Alex? But how did he get all of those people to join in with him? Entry 9, 5/19/18, 7:14 p.m. I've been racking my brain all day. Are they trying to get a reaction from me? Do they want me to watch them? Are they trying to provoke me? Is that why they're keeping me under this sort of surveillance? Well then, I'm provoked. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sit right there and watch you. Let's see how you react to this. Do you like to see me check you out with those binoculars? Oh, I hope you do. Entry 10, 5/19/18, 10:52 p.m. Well, that grand plan of mine did absolutely nothing. Everything was the same and they kept it up for hours. I don't know how they were able to do this. I don't think they moved at all. They are standing completely still. This is ridiculous. They're still standing outside. It is dark by now. They shouldn't even be able to see me anymore. Not outside of the balcony and not in here. Why haven't they moved yet? Entry 11, 5/10/18, 1:17 a.m. This has turned from ridiculous to scary. Even when I look out now, I can vaguely make out their silhouettes in the dark. They must all still be on their balconies. I've checked every couple of minutes, but nothing changes. This is the first time since this all started that I am seriously freaked out. Come on, calm down, calm down, calm down. I'm going to bed now. I made sure that every door and window were closed. Entry 12, 5/20/18, 7:47 a.m. I almost couldn't sleep last night. Even in bed I felt watched. It is stupid, yet I still felt their eyes resting on me. All night I imagined them looking over at my window. Deep inside I knew that as soon as I went to bed, they all went inside. I imagined them congratulating each other, shaking hands and laughing about how well they had played me. The worst part was the nightmare that followed. I dreamed that I stood in the middle of a vast square. An endless number of people surrounded me. They were all staring at me. No one said a word. And then they all started to close in on me. I woke up screaming. That was enough sleep, I told myself, and I got up. It was morning anyways. The first thing before I typed this out was to look out again. Of course, they're all already there. How could it have been any different? I wasn't even surprised. Entry 13, 5/20/18, 11:26 a.m. I talked to my neighbor, that dang grumpy old geezer. I had to ring a few times before he opened the door. I heard no footsteps or any other noises, and that's how I knew he had been standing behind the door all this time, watching me through the spyglass. When I didn't leave, he had no other choice but to open. I asked him if he had seen or noticed anything strange going on outside of the building opposite of ours. He stared at me for a few seconds, shook his head and mumbled something to himself before closing the door again. Yeah, right, screw you too. After he had closed the door, I felt his eyes watching me through the spyglass. Once I was inside, I wondered if he was a part of it too. It wouldn't be too far-fetched. It fit his character perfectly. I saw it in my mind now. Him standing behind his door all day, keeping a lookout for me and giving them information. That must be how they know if I'm home or not. He's giving them the information. Entry 14, 5/20/18, 2:54 p.m. I had been fuming ever since I got back from my neighbors. Was this whole area involved? This was starting to get to me. I had to talk to someone. I had to show them what was going on here. I tried recording from inside or from my balcony, but you couldn't see enough. I have to go outside. I'm going to record the insanity that is going on here. Once I have it on video, I can show everyone. Heck, I can post it on YouTube, and then I've got them. Entry 15, 5/20/18, 6:37 p.m. Not good. Not a good idea at all. I stormed outside alright, and the first thing I saw was the parents near the playground staring at me. As I walked, they kept track of me, whispering to one another. I ignored them until I saw their faces. They were grimacing, some even pointing at me. So, of course, I started filming them. I ignored when someone had yelled at me. There's a good chance that they are involved in this whole thing too. Still filming, I made my way to the building, and I went right for an old man who had been staring at me ever since this morning. I yelled at him and asked what he was doing. As I expected, I got no answer. No movement either. I yelled at him once more, and then I went to the next person, an older lady, and I filmed her. It wasn't long before some sweaty weirdo in a muscle shirt came over to me. He asked me in a harsh voice what I thought I was doing. I couldn't film people without their permission, especially the kids in the playground. I said nothing and I kept at it. Screw that guy, I thought. And to make a long story short, he grabbed my phone and got angry and told me to get the heck out of here, or that he would call the police. At first, I wanted to argue, but a crowd had already formed. All that attention made me really uneasy. I stammered that if he returned the phone, that I would get out of there. When he finally did, I almost ran back, and that weirdo dared to yell after me and call me a nutjob. Yeah, right, I was the crazy one here, not all of them. I could even hear them whisper all around me. That's him, right? Isn't that the guy? I saw how they looked at me. When I called them out, I only got stares back. I knew that they were hiding their smiles and laughter. At this moment, I knew that everyone out there was involved. I knew that they were planning their next step while I was standing right between them. Once back inside, I suffered from a severe panic attack. It was the first one in a long while. I couldn't do anything other than lay on my bed, breathe slowly, and try to calm down. Once it was finally over, I typed this out. Entry 16, 5/20/18, 7:11 p.m. I tried to send the video to my friends, but that weirdo must have deleted it when he got a hold of my phone. Come on. Entry 17, 5/24/18, 6:06 a.m. I didn't do much for 3 days. Got up, went to work in the morning, and spent the evening playing games. I was tempted to look outside, but I could resist. At least until now. I looked and they were all back at it. Why are there so many people on their balcony at a time like this? Like, what are they doing? Didn't they have to get to work? If not, why were they asleep? How can they all do this at 6 in the freaking morning? Entry 18, 5/24/18, 5:13 p.m. No change. They are all still there, still looking over here. I can't tell for sure, but I think they didn't move at all. I don't care anymore. I opened the blinds, took out my binoculars, and checked them out in detail. There had to be something. There had to be one single detail that showed me it was all a trick or a farce. They are completely still. Some looked a bit different though, angrier than the rest and as if they were frozen in motion. Out of nowhere, the dream I had a few days ago came back to me. Are they frozen in forward motion? Looking once more showed me that they were indeed. Does that mean that they're coming for me? Is that why they're in these strange positions? After only a few minutes, I put the binoculars away and closed the blinds. I am not going to think about this. I have to let this go. I have to let this go. I will let it go. Entry 19, 5/29/18. I did well. I did let it go. I'm going to wait until the summer is over if I have to. I'm not going to get near those blinds, the windows, or the balcony. I even hung out in the city 2 days ago. It wasn't too nice with all the people around, but it was better than sitting there being watched all day. Entry 20, 6/2/18, 2:11 p.m. I am all alone. There is no help. The police are involved too. Screw them. Screw the police. How can they take part in some stuff like that? But they really are all working together. They are all out for me. What the heck do they want? Why are they all playing me? Oh, what can I do? I'm so freaking confused. Entry 21, 6/2/18, 4:07 p.m. I had to calm down. I was too angry to write down what had happened. The day started off normal. I played some games and minded my own business. At one point I realized though that the only thing I heard was the low humming of my computer. It was Saturday and it was summer. The weather was great. I realized that these sounds from the playground were missing. I should have heard the kids playing and yelling. I told myself to let it go. I had been doing well to do so. The more I said those words, the less they worked. Curiosity and fear drove me forward, but I couldn't see the playground from the window. From the balcony, I could see it. Everyone near the playground was frozen, looking towards me. All eyes, those of the parents as well as the kids, were focused on me. I had ignored this thing for almost a week, but they got me again. They got me to look yet again. They had to keep pushing me, didn't they? At that moment, I said, screw it, and I called the police. I should have done so much earlier. I told them that people were spying on me. They were acting strange, and I was scared. When they arrived, I told them the whole story and led them straight to the playground. And well, what do you know? Everything was back to normal. The kids were playing and the adults were chatting. Oh, how surprised they all acted when they saw me with the police. I thought that I had got them now. I told the officers what had been going on before, and the officers went over to talk with the group. I could see one woman gesticulating heavily into my direction. I had smiled, thinking the officer had got her. It turned out that I was wrong. Big surprise. The officers came back to me and asked me which apartment was mine, and I pointed at it. Of course, they asked about the blinds. What the heck did it matter? I told them that it was for protection so people couldn't watch me. And then they dared to ask me if I often watched people. Well, what do you expect? Yeah, I do. I had to find out that they were watching me. I had to check on them. Frickin' police. Well, they didn't take to that too well. They asked me about the time that I had been filming people. That lady must have told them. She must have lied about me. I tried to tell them it was to prove the situation around here. I wanted to have evidence of the weird things that were happening. Well, they cut me off. Instead of listening, they told me that people had complained about me, that I was the one who was watching people, they said. Me. They said that I watched them all day from my balcony. That's absolute BS. I'm not watching anyone. I tried to explain again, but once more, I wasn't allowed to talk. They told me to shut it. I had called them to help me, and they told me to shut up. And that wasn't enough. They told me to get a grip and to go to a freaking psychiatrist. Yeah, right. I go straight back to Dr. Schultz tomorrow. I'll say to him, "Hey doc, I'm back. The police told me that I should talk to you." I didn't have those problems anymore. He said so himself. And they were full of it. I didn't even listen anymore. I let them talk, but I watched the playground. I saw them. I saw them look at me. They were talking about me, telling each other to get back into position soon. One of the officers snapped a finger in front of me. In the end, they told me to keep quiet, to not film anyone, and that any disturbance of peace and privacy was a serious crime. Yeah, that is a crime, right? And they're all doing it. But that's of course not what those two idiots cared about. Once they had left, I went back inside. And that's where I am now. For an hour, I was so mad I couldn't stop pacing around. Even the freaking police wouldn't help me. But that wasn't it. That wasn't why I was so mad. It was their faces, and I noticed it. That little smile when I told them my story. They were a part of it too. I had figured it out just now. That's why they didn't help me. The police were involved as well. I don't know why I didn't notice it back outside. Or wait, maybe they weren't even real policemen. Heck, they could be two guys that lived in the building over there. Put on a uniform, play the part, and screw with me a bit more. I looked outside as soon as I had come back inside. And yep, there they were again. It was exactly as I had thought. They're all smiling now. It's because they know they got me again. I am watching them again, and that's what they wanted, right? I am playing your stupid game once more. Entry 22, 6/2/18, 10:21 p.m. I remembered the dream once again. I had once read that dreams can be premonitions. In the dream, all the people that watched me came closer towards me. Guess what I noticed? They are getting closer. It is slow and barely visible. It is so that I don't notice it, but I did now. It is only a step or two at a time, but they are definitely inching closer. I can see some that are already leaning over their balcony railing. The ones outside too. Even from my windows I can now see the playground group. But when I look, they don't move. Why are they doing this? Is it to play with me, to freak me out, to drive me insane? Or is it so I keep watching? I'm freaking out now. Entry 23, 6/3/18, 1:42 a.m. I tried to sleep, but I can't. I got up again, and there are still dark silhouettes outside. They are still at the playground. I can't see them clearly, but I know that they're there. They know I didn't sleep. I tried recording them once again, but my phone isn't working right. Whenever I try to take a picture or record a video, it is nothing but darkness. They don't show up at all. And did that weirdo break it? Come on. This is so absurd, so completely ridiculous. It is almost 2 in the morning and those people are still outside. But they're freaking kids too. I wanted to open the window or the balcony door and scream at them to give it a rest. But they would like that, wouldn't they? Entry 24, 6/4/18, 6:41 a.m. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, no, I can't. Entry 25, 6/4/18, 8:34 a.m. Okay, I'm calm now, I'm calm. No one can hurt me. I tried something in Spoiler, it was really stupid, and my phone is now gone. I had the grand idea of trying to film people once more. It wasn't even 7, barely 6, and the playground was full of people. I went out with my phone in my hand and I started to take pictures. I leaned forward to get a full view and started filming. At that moment, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. I turned to see what it was. I saw that everyone on that whole side of the apartment building was leaning forward like me, staring at me. They all looked straight at me, right into my eyes. Their expression was angered, their eyes wide. They seemed to almost lean towards me, as if they had come for me at any second. It freaked me out more than anything in my entire life. I screamed, stumbled backward, and sent my phone flying. I ran back inside. After an hour, I went back outside to look for my phone, and it wasn't there. It had to have landed somewhere else. I peeked outside once more and prayed that I had imagined things. I had not. Everyone was still there. Not only to the left, but also to the right. I saw my neighbor, his face twisted into a visage of cruel mockery. Even from above, the people were staring at me. I'm laughing as I type this out. None of this makes any sense. It's surreal. Did I slip into a freaking bizarro world? I don't know anymore. Entry 26, 6/4/18, 1:22 p.m. I completely forgot work. I only remembered it right now. I sent an email to my boss saying that I was sick. I don't even care what he thinks. Entry 27, 6/4/18, 5:44 p.m. I'm trapped. I'm freaking trapped now. I should have left this place while I still could. After what I saw this morning, I told myself that I should get away. Something bizarre and very, very wrong was going on here. Heck, it had been going on for weeks now. As soon as I had opened my door, I saw that the entire hallway was filled with people, dozens of them. I yelled out in surprise, expecting them to jump me, but instead, they were all frozen in place, all staring right at me, watching me, and waiting for what I was going to do. I wanted to run. I really wanted to. I wanted to get out of there and then. I only took one step forward, and I saw they were all smiling. I saw that they were leaning forward towards me as if they were expecting me to try. They were taunting me to try it. Their arms were outstretched, their hands open in anticipation. I knew that they would grab me as soon as I tried. They wanted me to try running. They weren't just watching me, I realized. They were preying on me. And that's when I threw the door shut and locked it. I ran to the living room, expecting to hear them push against the door. I thought that they had knocked against it or they would try to pry it open. But instead, there was only silence. Everything stayed quiet. Why aren't they doing anything? I screamed at the door why they didn't come and take me. Nothing again. After that, I sent Tom a Facebook message. I knew that he would be worried, but I needed help. I told him how scared I was, that something strange was going on here, and that I didn't know what to do. I'm waiting for his reply now, but so far he hasn't read my message. Entry 28, 6/4/18, 8:25 p.m. Tom still hasn't read my message. I checked through the blinds earlier. They are all getting closer. The people from the other buildings are now outside. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of people are filling the small recreational area. They all look over here. None of them are moving when I watch, and that's why I don't dare to stop. I look outside all the time now. I have to. I can't risk them getting any closer. I can't risk for them to get there, to get to me. Entry 29, 6/5/18, 4:46 a.m. I didn't sleep yet. No answer from Tom. An idea came to me. Are they watching me to see if I'm watching them? Are they trying to sneak up on me, to come here and get me when I'm not watching? So that means that they watch me to see if I'm watching so they know if I'm watching, and if they don't, they come closer. Is that why they're watching so intently? The more I think about it, the more sense that it makes. There can't be any other reason. There never was. I started to laugh so much when I finally understood it. I had to type this out. They are watching me to see if I'm watching them. It's so simple. I'm still laughing even now. How stupid I was to not see it earlier. I have to go back to watch now. I have to be serious again. Entry 30, 6/5/18, 8:12 a.m. What is insanity? Things don't make sense anymore. Nothing does at all. I must have passed out at one point and woke up not long ago. I jerked up because I hadn't been watching. I see something impossible. There are dozens of heads looking over from these sides of the balcony. Wait, no, it must be more. It's hundreds. They're all peeking over the sides, all atop one another, and they're all looking straight at me as I'm typing away. That's not the worst, though. What is really so stupid is that the ones that look down from the top, from the freaking top, they are upside down and are looking at me. It shouldn't be possible. If they tried that, they would fall down and crash to the ground. Yet I see them. It is absolutely impossible. Are you telling me that they're all using rope? Hundreds of people are dangling down like in Mission Impossible to look into my apartment. It's so stupidly stupid that I'm laughing again. I'm actually going to put on the Mission Impossible theme later. In my mind, I see hundreds upon hundreds of ropes dangling down towards my balcony. This is all impossible. None of it makes any sense. Reality itself is turned to nonsense. This is not a bizarre world. This is a nonsense world. Entry 31. 6/5/18, 1:01 p.m. It's not real, is it? Do I imagine all of this? Was none of it real to begin with? Is there no one out there at all? Maybe it's all just in my head. All in my head. If I go outside, is it all over? Are they all gone, and should I do it? What if it is real, though? What if they aren't human? Could I be the only human left in this building? Is that why they're all focusing on me? No one else is real, and I'm the only real one left. Me, the only real one left. That would be great, and just me. I don't know. I don't know. Entry 32. 6/5/18, 11:04 p.m. I barricaded the place. There are so many of them now, I can't watch them all. Whenever I fall asleep or doze off, they're closer. I never see them move, but they wait till I can't watch anymore. Their hands are reaching out for me. They're climbing onto the balcony already, and they are still watching me. Okay, did I miss anything? The windows are covered up, check. The balcony door is blocked off too, check. The front door and the whole entry area is sealed, check. I still have enough food for a week or two. Entry 33, 6/6/18, 9:12 a.m. I slept again. The doorbell woke me up. I know that they're in front of the door. I am listening and I can hear you. I know you want me to go and open the door. You can try to lure me out all you want, but I won't come. I'm not an idiot. I won't open the door. I'm not falling for any of your silly tricks, not me. Entry 34, 6/6/18, 10:11 a.m. The balcony is overflowing with people. There's a tiny spot from which I can still watch them. It is because I have to always watch them. There are no sounds and they don't make any sounds. At time I think the sound is all but gone. The only sound is the doorbell. It's a trick. Entry 35, 6/10/18, 4:53 p.m. There are hundreds of them on my balcony now. They're all smiling. Is it in anticipation? There are so many. How do they all fit on the balcony? I am laughing again as I watch them. There are too many people out there. It is impossible for hundreds upon hundreds of people to be on my tiny balcony, yet they are all there. They are on top of each other, next to each other, filling up the balcony to the top. There are more of them outside. They are coming from all sides. It's as if they are pouring into the balcony, as if some giant is pushing more and more of them inside. It makes no sense. Entry 36, 6/11/18, 6:17 p.m. I got a couple of messages from Tom and he tells me that everything's alright. He talked about how I'm having another one of my episodes. I should come outside. Dr. Schultz is with them and they can help me. I knew that he was with them. Ever since the start I knew it, he always was. Even back in the day. Him and Schultz, two parts of an evil whole. Now they're ringing again and again and again. Over and over. Are they going to get in soon? What if they break down the door? What if they pour in from the balcony? Nothing to do but wait. Oh, and wait I will. And do and come for me, I'm prepared. I have every knife, every tool, and every other sharp or blunt object. Come in if you want. Come and try to get me, I won't let you. I'm going to fight and fight and kill and fight and kill. There are noises outside again.